It's
Good
recording.
evening. It's a Business World telecast, Business World TV telecast. We welcome Dr. Velumani, who's the founder of Thyrocare, a pioneering entrepreneur, an excellent motivational speaker, a leader who makes sense even when he's making you smile, or when he's making you smile, he still makes sense. So, Dr. Velu, welcome to BWTV and our conversation. These
Thank
are
you,
very
Anurag.
challenging times. What is keeping you happy and motivated?
Well, that's an attitude. Fortunately, I have been like this. I have seen tougher times. So, what makes someone progress is looking at everything happening around positive. In every challenge, you can see an opportunity. Even in this crisis, we see opportunities. I think it is hell or heaven. It is only in your mind, though you are only on the earth. If you are positive, it's heaven. And I have been looking at whatever is happening around as an opportunity.
Dr. Velumani, hi.
And why do you say it's an opportunity?
On this earth, nothing can be created, nothing can be destroyed. That is the law of physics. If somebody's lost, somebody else's benefit. If one industry is suffering, other industry will grow. So whenever you look at anything, you look at what is the good and bad in it and orient yourself towards the good. I think that's an opportunity. I am pretty sure the world order will be very different. I was born poor, but then that was before the crisis. At the crisis, all of us are equally poor. Now, what will help us is our grit, our ability to take decisions, our confidence to move ahead. I think still Japan today is most powerful country only after that Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So every crisis gives rise to some new avatar, higher discipline, better progress, prosperity. I'm pretty sure good, powerful, capable CEOs will make it very large post-corona crisis.
Good. See, since it's a healthcare crisis in some way, and then it has an impact on economy. Let me first ask you about what do you feel about the Prime Minister and government's decision of lockdown, and how has it helped us?
I think we have handled COVID very well. I think that's the right word. Though opposition might tell that, you didn't do this, you don't do that. But all governments, irrespective of whichever is the party, central and state governments were panicked and they had to do something and they have done whatever they could do. But having said that, we are not a country having that much cash reserves as much as Western world has got. So, unfortunately, we keep comparing Western world and we start mocking the Indian administration. Why you can't do that? We have a low per capita income. So with limitations in hand, Indian government has done wonderful. A. B. India as a country is blessed with lot of advantages, which I think no one expected. I did think about it a couple of weeks back. I have been tweeting about what advantages India has got. Ever since I understood the fatality is more in old and not in young, I got a great confidence because India is an young country. Mean age of India is 28. Mean age of all these countries which had seen calamity are 40 plus, 45 plus. So that is one thing which I was pretty happy about when we consider India's age. And number two, number of people above 60 years of age is very, very little in our country. Whereas in all developed markets, old markets, the old population is too high. So that is number one advantage we had got. Number two advantage is, with all said and done, India has been living in villages, unhygienic conditions, low income, and Indians have got used to every pathogen possible around. In fact, I will ask you a question. If somebody from New York comes to India for 10 days and goes back, he will have 10 illnesses. Somebody from Patna goes to New York and comes back, he will not have an illness because he has seen worst of it. So Indians have advantage of having lot of exposure to various illnesses, which the Western population was pampered immunity, which collapsed, whereas ours was a well-developed immunity, according to me. I am a scientist. The next point is Indians had a tuberculosis burden. Because there was a tuberculosis burden, we were very serious about BCG program, BCG, which was a vaccination done at elementary school and primary school level, even much before that. Western world felt we don't have TB and they didn't have a BCG program. When you map BCG countries and non-BCG countries, there is a stark difference that BCG countries have a better control, lesser infection, lesser mortality. So I think that also is contributing. The last point, which is also equally important, is a malaria. And malaria, chloroquine has, once again, there is an overlap of TB countries and malaria countries. And these two together were ignored by the Western world. So they are facing the brunt of it. And we probably are, today I have seen the number is only 505 deaths in a population of 1.35 billion population. We have 4 distinct advantages in handling this COVID. Number one, we have immunity which is not pampered, which means the Western world, because they had money, because they could afford, they could live with least pathogen environment. India has been traditionally a poor country, a village-based a kind of environment. So we have seen worst of the pathogens. Our children bleed a lot in the first 5 years of life. In fact, our mortality rate in the infancy is high. That means jo bach gaya, those individuals have higher levels of combating
immunity.
pathogens. So that's number one. Number two, of course, it in fact is number one, that is India is an young country. In the last week of January, I found in the death profile, that means people who have died in Wuhan, the old, that is 60 plus, was majority, and 60 minus was minority, and less than 40 were very little. I got an inclination that time itself. India is an young country, mean age is 28 years, we are safe. Western countries, developed markets, the mean age is 45 plus or minus 3-4, which means they are at a higher risk. And let me tell you, the percentage of population above 60 in India is 3-4% only. In the Western world, it is 18 to 20%. So why is that so much of casualty in New York, in London, and in parts of Europe? It is because in spite of having higher bed numbers per thousand, doctor numbers per thousand, nurses per thousand, they were old and they could not manage the outcome. So when it comes to India, its mean age is 28 years and we have controlled it well. So there was a pathogen managing immunity with Indians, and there is an age which is supporting. Number three, India had a tuberculosis burden. It has been there for 100 years. Unfortunately, India has had it. And this burden brought in the BCG program. The BCG program was to control TB. We were immunized with BCG. The Western world felt tuberculosis is not our problem. Tuberculosis problem of the underdeveloped, and they did not follow a BCG regime. Today, when you map countries with BCG regime, countries did not follow the BCG regime. There is a stark difference in the fatality. The next is malaria and chloroquine. Once again, the tropical countries around the equator, are the countries which were having the problem of tuberculosis and malaria. And these are the countries today are having a safety net. And that is what I believe. Number one is ability to manage pathogen, low mean age, and BCG program support and malaria management. All four together have helped. Not to tell that lockdown didn't help. Lockdown was in right time. Had there not been a lockdown, we would have had some kind of a crisis. Lockdown delayed it. These four parameters have given an advantage that today we see. I want you to understand that if you list the countries in the descending order of number of deaths per million, there are 100 countries who have lost, 26 countries who have lost more than 100 lives. Of all this, India is the least, bottom of the list. We have only lost 0.4 per million, whereas Western world has lost in hundreds per million. So we have got advantage. If you want me to conclude, India has won it. India is out of the worst calamities of what Italy had seen, what London has seen, what New York has seen. India will have some casualties, but we are safer than many of the Western world.
Dr. Velumani, the testing has ramped up in the last few weeks. What do you have to say about the ramped up testing, and what do you have to say to people who say testing is not, our numbers are low because we are not testing enough?
Yeah, let me tell you, in case of COVID, testing has not offered any advantage except knowledge for the government about the progress of the disease. Simply because the test positive does not alter the course of management of COVID, which means positive or negative, you are having flu-like symptoms and you are supposed to be quarantined till such period it becomes worse. If it becomes worse, get into a hospital and manage it. If it is giving you a relief, after 15 days, you can take care of your routine. So testing has not truly helped in what you call as management. But you know, the Western world has too much of money. I have noticed roughly around $25 billion, $25 billion approximately, 10 times more than India has been spent by the Western world. 10 times more. But if testing helps, they would have had lesser death per million than India. So what is obvious? Obvious is testing is for knowledge. Testing is not the solution. Testing will not reduce the fatality. Testing could help you to, even the distance by quarantining people. India very frugally tested very little, and it was great of Indian administration to think very early that testing is not going to help. Quarantining will help, distancing will help. Let me tell you, this mask program which has come very late. WHO did not advise it. Indian government did not advise it. Had we all 1.3 billion population own a homemade mask in the first week of March, I think even 500 would have not died. This is my observation. So it is much simpler to manage. Testing is not truly test done per million and deaths per million. There is no correlation.
But just to go ahead, sir, go ahead. To play devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
Just to play devil's advocate, there may be districts where the people affected, but they're staying in their home, they're suffering, and they're possibly some of them are dying, but they're not being counted, and they're not being counted as carriers. So is that a possibility that the numbers are underreported because a large number are not being actually diagnosed?
Anurag, the numbers could be 100% underreported in the worst case.
Okay.
That means 500 death could be 1,000. But 1,000 is too little.
Relatively
too little. They have lost 100 per million. population, 100 per million. We are only 0.4 per million. It could be 0.8. It could be even 1.6. So we are safe. It is no under reporting.